25th of this month. And item 3, my lord, pursuant of your lordship's order, accused R.A.M. Obaidul Muqtadi Rashid Chowdhury has been produced before this tribunal today. তাকে আজকে সিডব্লিউ মূলে কাস্টডিতে প্রেরণের
committed to the custody.
মাছ অফ লাইফ
Next date হচ্ছে
ফার্স্ট ডেট 14th ডিসেম্বর, এটা ফিক্স আছে আগে থেকে। আইটেম 3 নেক্সট ডেট আগে থেকেই ফিক্সড আছে, আর আইটেম 2 এর নেক্সট ডেট আমরা 25 তারিখে চাচ্ছি।
25 তারিখ
মাছ অফ লাইফ।
Item 1, for judgment.
May it please your lordships. My lord, in this item we are, on behalf of the prosecution, we are here for receiving the judgment. And I beg your lordships very kind permission as per section 9A2 for broadcast of the session, my lord.
including theirs.
And no, excluding the rest. Much obliged, your lordships.
Much awaited judgment. Before accepting reading out the judgment, I want to extend thanks to the investigation team headed by co-coordinator for the conducting of the strenuous job. They have done a very tough job, I would say, the investigation team. And I like to mention of Mr. Alamgir, investigating officer, and Mr. Johar, and other members of the investigation team. Many thanks to them. Thanks to my bench officers, assistant bench officers, and those who operated our devices and machineries, including Mr. Meher. He has done a lot in the preparation of the judgment. I also like to extend thanks to my registry, to all the staff, and to the respected journalists who have been working very hard to collect the information of this tribunal during the last long period. And we are very much thankful, grateful to the members of the martyrs and those who have been injured, who have lost their eyes, their skulls, their nose, teeth, legs, hands, handicapped. In spite of being injured, they attended the court. They deposed the court, and they assisted in the running of the trial of the case. We are thankful to our police personnel and all other security staff, BGB, SP, DB, Metropolitan Police, and all others. And many thanks to those who have come to depose in the court. And very much thankful to the prosecution. The learned prosecutor, Mr. Mizanul Islam, Mr. Ghazi Manoarul Hussain. They played a substantial part in the trial. And I will mention the names, other names of the prosecutors who have also contributed to some extent from time to time during the proceeding of this case. And they are Mr. Sultan Mahmood Mr. Shahidul Islam Sardar, Mr. Farooq Ahmed, Mr. Abdullah Al-Numan, Mr. Abdul Sattar, Mr. Mamun Rashid, MD, Hassanul Banna, Ismail Karim, Mr. Saikul Mahdi, Mr. Tariq Abdullah, Mr. Saimum Reza, Mr. Tasbirul Islam, Mr. Tanvir Hussain Joha. Our thanks to all our staff, whose names I could not mention by this time. Our heartfelt thanks to the learned Attorney General, who have attended the trial at the inception and at the conclusion. Over and above, our thanks from the core of our heart to Mr. Tajul Islam, the learned Chief Prosecutor, for playing the part of excellence. We are thankful to all others. Thank you all. Now let us say something about.
Malad defense care too.
I am sorry. I am very much sorry. Our sincere thanks to the learned defense lawyers, particularly the learned state defense lawyer, Mr. Amir Hussain. Many people will say many things, but he has done a lot. And he, in our view, in our estimation, to the best of his possibility, he played the exact role he was supposed to, and that we expected. Thanks to him again. And if anyone is left, sorry that we do not by this time recollect. Our thanks to the Learned Attorney General again for his kind presence. We are sorry for being late because many things are connected in the preparation of the judgment. This is a very big matter. For the last couple of days, we could sleep very little and we had to work continuously for 10 to 12 hours every day. So, anyway, this is our job, but all of you are waiting. You have participated in many ways. Thanks to you all. Now let us discuss something about the judgment. I want to give you an idea of the judgment. The judgment comprises 453 pages. And it consists of 6 parts. The first part includes the index, description of the prosecutors, learned prosecutors and the learned defense counsels, introduction of the accused, origin and object of the tribunal, jurisdiction of the tribunal. Article 7 of the Rome Statute, which is the basis of trial of our tribunal. The elements of the crime against humanity. We are trying the offense, we are holding trial of the crime against humanity. So, elements of crime against humanity, these are enunciated by the Rome Statute and being followed and exercised by the International Criminal Court and other international tribunals. We are also following the Rome Statute as well as our law, and particularly the elements as enshrined therein. And the elements of superior command responsibility. In such cases, superior command responsibility is bulkily involved, and that's why we have to have regard to this aspect as well. And we have stated the standard of the tribunal. That is, we compare the standard of this tribunal with the standard of the other international tribunals as well as the International Criminal Court. And we have said about the trial procedure, part 2, pre-trial proceedings, part 3, prosecution story and defense case. We have stated about learned chief prosecutor submission on charge, learned state defense counsel's submission on charge, thereupon decision on charge, and then we have given the description of evidences in part 4. In part 4, we have also given an account of the testimonies of the prosecution witnesses. In part 5, we have given the illustration of the evidences, that is the description of the evidences. Used arms and ammunition. We have given an account of the used arms and ammunition. We have given a description. We have discussed about the telephonic conversations of accused Sakasina with a number of persons from time to time. We have discussed and extracted the reports of daily newspapers concerning the issues of this case, reports of United Nations Human Rights Commission, reports of Odhikar, another Human Rights Commission, reports of Human Rights Watch, and Globe Institute, and so on. We have discussed about the videos of the occurrences which have been displayed in the tribunal. And we have described the extent of cruelty administered upon the victims who have died and who have been seriously injured and lost their vital organs of the body. And we have talked about seized alamos. We have given account of the murders, number of murders, in accordance with the Gazette notifications published by our government and in accordance with the reports of United Nations Human Rights Commission and other organizations. In this context, I want to say that the exact report of martyrs or the victims or the sufferers or the injured person or those whose whereabouts could not be traced, this is quite natural. You will understand that since our liberation war in 1971, still we could not finalize the list of murderers, the list of freedom fighters, list of the war criminals, and others. So there are lists, but it varies. So you say time limit, it may vary. Somewhere you will find the figure 800, somewhere 1000, somewhere 1400. So substantial amount of the protesters have been killed. This is the fact. We have described the police messages and directions passed from the high-ups to the downwards for doing the needful to control the protesters, curfew orders. Then in part 6, we have described, we have given an account of the learned chief prosecutor's arguments, the points of argument, the pertinent points of argument have been described. We have also described the pertinent points of argument raised by the learned State Defense Council. Thereafter, we have given an account of our observations and inference. And finally, we passed the order. So, this is all about the judgment. Now we will read out the very pertinent portions of the judgment one by one. At first, our line number 2. He will read out a portion of the judgment, commencing from origin and object of the tribunal, jurisdiction of the tribunal, and he will read out Article 7 of Home Statute, elements of crime against humanity, elements of superior command status, responsibility, and then the charges. Thereafter, learned member 1, he will read out some questions from the discussion of the evidences, the report of the United Nations Human Rights Commission, and then the extent of cruelty administered upon the victims, and thereafter the points of arguments submitted by the learned prosecutor and the learned state defense counsel. And finally, I will read out the conclusion and the order. So it will take about 40 minutes. We hope that you will be listening to the deliberations. Thank you very much. Now, the turn of our learned member 2 is reading out, as I have mentioned.
Origin and object of the tribunal. The International Crimes Tribunal has been established under the International Crimes Tribunal Act 1973 to provide for the detention, prosecution, and punishment of the persons for genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, and other crimes under international law committed within or beyond the territory of Bangladesh, whether before or after commencement of the Act. Jurisdiction of the Tribunal. The Tribunal has got the jurisdiction to try the offences enshrined in Section 3 and 4 of the International Crimes Tribunal Act 1973. Section 3 provides, the Tribunal shall have the power to try and punish any individual or group or individuals, organization, or any member of any disciplined force, auxiliary force, or intelligence agency who, irrespective of his nationality, commits or has committed within or beyond the territory of Bangladesh, whether before or after the commencement of this Act, any of the crimes mentioned in its subsection 2. According to subsection 2 of section 3, the following acts or any of them is crime within the jurisdiction of a tribunal for which there shall be individual responsibility. The Constitution of Bangladesh has given upper hand in Article 47, Subarticle 3 thereof to the application of the provisions of International Crimes Tribunals Act 1973 in the following manner. Notwithstanding anything contained in this Constitution, no law nor any provision thereof providing for detention, prosecution, or punishment of any persons who is a member of any armed or defense or auxiliary forces or any individual group of individuals or organization, or who is a prisoner of war for genocide, crimes against humanity, or war crimes and other crimes and crimes under international law shall be deemed void or unlawful, or ever to have become void or unlawful on the ground that such law or provisions of any such law is inconsistent with or repugnant to any of the provisions of the constitutions. Crime against humanity, namely murder, extermination, enslavement, deportation, imprisonment, abduction, confinement, torture, rape, sexual exploitation, enforced disappearance, human trafficking, sexual slavery, enforced prostitution, forced pregnancy, enforced sterilization or other inhuman acts when committed as part of a widespread or systematic attack direct against any civilian population with the knowledge of the attack or persecutions on political, racial, ethnic, or religious grounds, whether or not in violation of the domestic law of the country were perpetrated. Section 4 provides as follows. Any individual or groups of individuals or any member of any disciplined force, auxiliary force, or intelligence agency who commits a crime within the jurisdiction of the tribunal shall be responsible and liable for punishment. Any commander, superior officer or leader who orders, permits, acquiesces, incites, or participates in the commission of any of the crimes specified in Section 3 or is connected with any plans or activities involving the commission of such crimes or who fails or omits to discharge his duty to maintain a discipline or to control or supervise the actions of the persons under his command or his subordinates, whereby such persons or subordinates or any of them commit any such crimes or who fails to take necessary measure to prevent the commission of such crimes. Now, crimes against humanity according to Rome Statute. For the purpose of this statute, crime against humanity means any of the following acts when committed as part of a widespread or systematic attack directed against any civilian population with the knowledge of the attack, A. Murder, and weighing the relevant ones, murder, torture, other inhuman acts of a similar character intentionally causing great suffering or serious injury to body or to mental or physical health. The core offense in the instant case is the crime against humanity. Thus, we have to see what elements are required to constitute this crime. In view of Section 3 and 4 of the Act, there must be an attack. B. The attack must be widespread or systematic. C. The attack must be targeted a civilian population. D. The attack must be within the knowledge of the superior, or the superior should have known of the attack in order to hold him or her liable for the crime. The superior must have been in the control over the concerned subordinates. Elements of superior command responsibility. From the jurisprudence and eminent from the international crimes tribunals, it is generally agreed that 4 elements must be proven for a person to be held responsible as superior. The elements are: 1. An international crimes must have been perpetrated by someone other than the accused. 2. There existed a superior-subordinate relationship between the accused and the perpetrator. 3. The accused as a superior knew or had reason to know that the subordinate was about to commit such crimes or had done so. 4. The accused as a superior failed to take the necessary and reasonable measure to prevent such crimes or punish the perpetrator. Section 4, subsection 2 of the International Crimes Tribunal Act provides that any commander or superior officer who orders, permits, acquiesces, or participates in the commission of any of the crimes specified in Section 3 or is connected with any plans and activities involving the commission of such crimes, or who fails or omits to discharge his duty to maintain discipline or to control or supervise the actions of the persons under his command or his subordinates, whereby such persons or subordinates or any of them commit any such crime, who fails to take necessary measures to prevent the commission of such crime is guilty of such crimes. Now, I'm going to read the charges. On the point of the jurisdiction of this tribunal raised by the learned State Defense Council, it may be noted that there is no scope in law to raise such question, since question of jurisdiction of the tribunal is barred by Section 24 of the International Crimes Tribunal Act. Regarding the allegations against the accused, he merely made flat denials thereto without showing anything subsistence contrary to the acts complained of. On the other hand, on perusal of the formal charges and the documents submitted therewith, and also in consideration of submission of the learned chief prosecutor and the learned State Defense Council, it has been made to appear to us that there are sufficient grounds for framing charges against the accused under Section 3, subsection 2, read with Section 4 of the Act. On hearing both sides, 5 charges were framed against accused Sheikh Hasina individually, and several 5 charges were framed against accused Asaduzzaman Khan Kamal and Chaudhry Abdullah and Mamun Jani. But on scrutiny of the documents and examination of the witnesses of the tribunal, deems to condign to reshape the charges for ends of justice, and accordingly the same charges framed earlier have been modified in the following manner. Charge number 1. Incitement and order to attack and kill protesting students of Dhaka University and other academic institutions of the country, and also failure to take preventive and punitive measures, and thus killing hundreds and severely injuring thousands of protesters during July uprising 2024, commencing on 1st July 2024 and ending on 5th August 2024, accused Sheikh Hasina as the Prime Minister of Bangladesh and the President of the ruling party of Bangladesh, Awami League, as well as 14 Party Alliance, in a press conference on 14/7/24 at Gaur Bhavan, made the following derogatory remark. মুক্তিযোদ্ধার নাতিপুতিরা চাকরি পাবে না তো কি রাজাকারের নাতিপুতিরা চাকরি পাবে? If the grandchildren of freedom fighters should not get jobs, should the grandchildren of rajakars get it? Pointing towards the protesters of anti-discrimination student movement while demanding rational reform of quota system in government job, whereby the left defamed and aggrieved, since rioters are considered as collaborators of occupied Pakistan Army during Liberation War of 71. And thereafter, the term has been being used to stigmatize an individual or group of individuals as enemy of the state of the people. Moreover, in a telephonic conversation with ASM Masood Kamal, the then Vice Chancellor of Dhaka University, Sheikh Hasina, mentioned that she ordered to hang the protesters as the Rajakars have been hanged before. Furthermore, being incited and inspired by the said remark, Cabinet Minister and Awami League Secretary Obaidul Qadir, separately charged, made another provocative, aggressive remark on 15th July of 2024 at 12 noon, saying, Andolon Domone Chhatraligi যথেষ্ট. Chhatraligi is enough to bring the movement under control. And as such, the students, female and male, came down to the streets chanting slogans against herself and her party of government. Meanwhile, as subordinates, including the cabinet members, police, and other law enforcing agencies, activists of the four-party Awami League and its affiliated and allied organization go to incited and inspired of the aforesaid remarks of you and Obaidul Qadir, and thus they launched widespread and systematic attack within your full knowledge upon the peaceful statement
its
protesters
and
in
allied
Dhaka University law causing
go to
297 students injured and many others in different educational institutions throughout the country, including Rangpur Begum Rokeya University, where Abu Said was brutally shot dead by police. By your incitement and order to kill the protesting students who have been injured and killed as the first time, and also by failure to take preventive and punitive measure against the perpetrators, it accused Sheikh Hasina committed the crimes against humanity under Section 3, subsection 2, under Section 4, subsection 1, clause B, and Section 4, clause 3, subsection 3, read with Section 28 of the International Crimes Tribunal Act 1973. Charge number 2. Order to use lethal weapon, drones, and helicopters to kill the protesters and execution of the order. During the July uprising, 2024, accused Sheikh Hasina held a conversation over telephone with Dr. A.S.M. Masood Kamal, the then Vice Chancellor of Dhaka University from Colombo on 4th July 2024 at about 11 p.m. wherein she mentioned that she already ordered to kill the protesters like the Rajakas,
the then Vice Chancellor of Dhaka University,
who have been hanged before.
on
Again on July 18, Sheikh Hasina conversed
about
over telephone with Sheikh Fazlur Taposh,
mentioned
the
that
Mayor of
she
Dhaka
already
South,
ordered to kill the protesters like the
South City
Rajakas,
Corporation, mentioning that she had already
who have been
given
hanged
direction
before.
to the law
Again, on
enforcement
July
agencies
18,
to use
Sheikh Hasina conversed
helicopter and lethal
over
weapons
telephone
to
with
kill
Sheikh
and
Fazlur
eliminate
Taposh,
the
the Mayor of
peaceful
Dhaka
unarmed civilian protesters, and also
South
ordered them to
Corporation,
use drones.
mentioning
Look
that
at
she
the
had already
protesters.
given direction
She also
to
told
law
him
enforcement
that
agencies
she
to
passed
use
orders to arrest and
helicopter and lethal
torture
weapons
the
to
protesters
kill
across
and
the country.
eliminate
As a
the
result of
peaceful
above
unarmed
statement,
civilian protesters,
directions, the Home
and also
Minister
ordered them to use
Asad
drones.
Jawan Khan
Look
Kamal
at
and
the
Inspector General of Police Chaudhry
She
Abdullah
also
Mahmood
told him
successively
that she passed
implemented
orders to
the
arrest
directions through their
protesters
journalings,
across the
that is
country.
law
As a
enforcing
result of above statement,
agencies by
directions, Home
deploying
Minister
drones and helicopters in the sky,
Asad Jawan
killing
Khan
about
and Inspector
1,400
General of Police
protesters,
Chaudhry Abdullah
including women
Mahmood
and children,
successively
indiscriminately
implemented the
and
directions
gravely
through
injuring
their
about
drilling,
25,000 of
law
them
enforcement
throughout the country by
agencies
using
by
lethal weapons
deploying drones and
everywhere from
helicopters in the
16th
sky,
July
killing about
2024 and
1,400
helicopters
protesters, including
somewhere
women and
from
children,
18 July 2024 up to
and
5th
gravely
August
injuring
2024, and thereby Sheikh
25,000
Hasina,
of
Asad Jamal
throughout
Khan
the
Kamal
country
and Chaudhry
by
Abdullah
using
Mahmood
lethal
committed crimes against
everywhere
humanity
from
as a
16th
joint
July
criminal
2024
enterprise
and
punishable under Section
somewhere
3,
from
subsection
18
2,
July
clause A, G,
2024 up to
H.
5th August
Section
2024,
clause
and thereby
B,
Sheikh
C.
Hasina, Asad
Section
Jamal
4,
Khan Kamal, and
subsection 3.
Chaudhry Abdullah
Read
Mamun
with Section
committed crimes
28
against
of the
humanity
International Crimes
as a
Tribunal
joint
Act.
criminal enterprise
Charge number
punishable
3.
under Section 3,
Killing
subsection
6
2,
protesters
clause
at
A,
Chankharpur
H.
with lethal
Section
weapons.
4,
The
clause
protesters
B,
convened
Section
a
4,
program
subsection
titled
3,
March to
read
Dhaka
with
to
Section
be held on
28
5th
of the
August
International
and
Crimes
made
Tribunal
a
Act.
call to the
Charge
people
number
of
3.
all walks throughout
Killing
the country
6
to march to
protesters at
Dhaka on the
Chankharpur
scheduled
with
day.
lethal weapons.
People of
The
all
protesters
sphere
convened
began
a
to
program
assemble
titled
in
March to
Dhaka from
Dhaka
every
to
part
be
of the
held on
country on
5th
August
August
5th.
and made a
By
call
incitement,
to
order,
all
and inaction of Sheikh
throughout the
Hasina,
country to
by
march to
abetment
Dhaka
and inaction
on
of
the
Home
scheduled
Minister
day.
Asad Jamal Khan Kamal and Inspector General of Police Chaudhry
began
Abdullah Al
assembled in
Mahmood.
Dhaka
The
from every
successive
part of the country on
underlings
August
got
5th.
incited and
By
inspired to kill the
incitement, order,
protesting
and
students
inaction of
and
Sheikh
common
Hasina,
people,
by
and
abetment
therefore
and
under
inaction
order,
of Home Minister
supervision
Asad Jamal
and
Khan Kamal
inaction of
and
accused Asad
Inspector
Jamal
General
Khan
of
Kamal,
Police
Chaudhry Abdullah Mamun,
the
and
successive
then Dhaka Metropolitan
underlings
Commissioner
got
GMP Abdul
incited
Rahman,
and inspired
Joint
to kill
Commissioner
the
of Police
protesting
Shudik Kumar
students
Chakraborty,
and common
Additional
people,
Deputy Commissioner
and
Shah
therefore under
Alam
order,
Muhammad Akhtar
supervision, and
Assistant
inaction
Commissioner
of
Muhammad
accused
Imrul
Asad
and
Jamal
Inspector
Khan
Muhammad
Kamal,
Ashad
Chaudhry
Hussain.
Abdullah
They have been
Mamun, and
separately
then Dhaka Metropolitan
prosecuted,
Commissioner DMP Habibur
successively
Rahman,
ordered to
Joint
commit
Commissioner
atrocities
Sudip
to
Kumar
the
Chakraborty,
protesters, assembled at Chankarpur of Dhaka and supervised same and during such atrocities, 6 unarmed protesters, namely Shahjan Khan Anas, Sheikh Mahdi Hassan Shuaib alias Mustaqim, Muhammad Yaqub, Muhammad Rakib Hawladar, Muhammad Islamul Haq, and Manik Mia alias Shahrik were shot dead by Constable Shujaa Hussain, Constable Imaj Hussain, and Constable Nasirul Islam, who have been separately prosecuted at Chankarpur as part of widespread and systematic attack. The aforesaid killings took place pursuant to the order of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina within her full knowledge and also under successive order, supervision and within the knowledge of Home Minister Sadr Jahan Khan Kamal and Inspector General of Police Chaudhry Abdullah Mahmood, and by such killings they committed crimes against humanity as joint criminal enterprise by order, abetment and inaction to prevent and punish the perpetrators under Section 3, Subsection 2, Red With, Section 4 of the International Crimes Tribunal Act.
Against humanity as joint criminal enterprise by order, abetment and inaction to prevent and punish the perpetrators under Section 3, Subsection 2, Red With
It transfers from the prosecution to cases deposed in corroboration of the fact of incitement and order of accused Sheikh Hasina to deploy drones and helicopters and also to use lethal weapons to kill the protesters. The
It
daily
transfers
newspapers of
from the
Bangladesh also
prosecution
published
with necessary deposed in corroboration of the facts
an
of
order of
incitement
Sheikh
and
Moreover,
order of accused Sheikh Hasina to deploy drones and helicopters
pen drive
and
CD
also to
containing
use lethal weapons
telephonic
to kill the
conversation of Sheikh
protesters.
Hasina, the Dhaka
The daily
University Vice
newspapers
Chancellor
of
Dr.
Bangladesh also
Kamal,
published
Dhaka
reports of
City
such
Corporation Mayor
incitement
Fazlul
and order
Tapor,
of Sheikh Hasina. Moreover,
Hasanul
the
Haq
prosecution
The
exhibited
concerned
a
device
pen-drive
containing
CD
the
containing
state conversations
telephonic
have been
conversation of
played
Sheikh
in the
Hasina with
tribunal
Dhaka
and
University Vice
thereupon
Chancellor
we
Dr.
find that
Maqsood Kamal,
in the conversation
Dhaka
the
South
Dhaka,
City
with the
Corporation
Dhaka
Mayor
University
Fazlul Tapor
Vice Chancellor ASM
and Hasanul Haq
Maqsood
Inu.
Kamal
The concerned
accused Sheikh Hasina
device
mentioned
containing
that
the
she
state
already
conversations
ordered
have been
and
played
the
in the
students
tribunal
as
and
Radhakar
thereupon
at
we
the
find
end.
that in the conversation with the
Now
Dhaka
I am
University
mentioning
Vice Chancellor ASM
substantial
Maqsood Kamal
portion from this conversation
accused
with
Sheikh Hasina
from
mentioned
her
that she
conversation
already
with
ordered
ASM
to
Maqsood
hang
Kamal,
the
the
students as
accused
Radhakar
Vice Chancellor
have been
of
hanged.
Dhaka University. Sheikh Hasina তো রাজাকারের
Now I
ফাঁসি
am
দিয়েছে
mentioning
এবং
the
তাদেরও তাই করবে
substantial portion
একটাও
from
ছাড়বো
his
না আমি
conversation
বলে
with,
দিচ্ছি
from her conversation with
শেখ
ASM
হাসিনা
Maqsood Kamal,
কোন
the
দেশে বাস
accused
করি
Vice Chancellor of
ওদেরকে
Dhaka
বাড়তে
University.
বাড়তে তো
শেখ হাসিনা তো
রাজাকারদের কি
রাজাকারের
অবস্থা
তো
হয়েছে
ফাঁসি
দেখিস
দিছি,
নাই
এবার তাদেরও
সবগুলোকে ফাঁসি
তাই
দিছি
করব,
এবার
একটাও
তোদেরও
ছাড়বো
ছাড়বো
না,
না
আমি বলে দিচ্ছি।
শেখ হাসিনা সব এইগুলাকে
শেখ হাসিনা
বাইর করে দিতে হবে
কোন
আমি বলে
দেশে বাস
দিছি
করি
আজকে সহ্য
আমরা,
করার পরে অ্যারেস্ট
এদেরকে
করবে
বাড়তে বাড়তে
ধরে
তো
নেবে এবং
রাজাকার
যা অ্যাকশন নেওয়া
অবস্থা
নেবে
হয়েছে দেখিস নাই,
যা
সবগুলোকে
অ্যাকশন নেওয়া
ফাঁসি
নেবে
দিছি, এবার তোদেরও ছাড়বো না। শেখ হাসিনা সব এইগুলাকে বাইর করে দিতে হবে, আমি বলে দিছি
Then,
আজকে সহ্য করার পরে অ্যারেস্ট করবে,
Also
ধরে
appears
নেবে
from the conversation with
যা
Dhaka
অ্যাকশন নেওয়া
South
নেবে,
City Corporation Mayor Fazlul
যা
Tapor,
অ্যাকশন নেওয়া নেবে।
accused Sheikh Hasina told him that she ordered to kill the protesting students by using helicopters and lethal weapons.
Then
The
it
substantial
also
portion
appears
of
from
the
the conversation with
is
Dhaka South City Corporation
Sheikh
Mayor
Hasina, দরকার
Fazlul
নাই
Tapor,
ওটা
accused
দরকার
Sheikh
নাই
Hasina
আমি
told him
প্রধানের সাথে কথা
that
বলেছি
she ordered to
ওরা
kill
রেডি
the
থাকবে
protesting
ঠিক আছে
students by
এখন তো
using
আমরা
helicopters and
অন্য
lethal
ইয়ে
weapons.
করতেছি ড্রোন দিয়ে ছবি নিচ্ছি
The
আর হেলিকপ্টারে
substantial portion of
ইয়ে
the
হচ্ছে মানে
conversation
কয়েক
is
জায়গায় তারপর তাহলে
শেখ হাসিনা দরকার নাই, ওটা
ছবি থেকে
দরকার নাই,
পাকড়া
আমি
করা যায় না
প্রধানের
তাদের
সাথে
রাতের
কথা
মধ্যে
বলেছি,
শেখ
ওরা
হাসিনা
রেডি থাকবে,
সবগুলিকে
ঠিক আছে।
অ্যারেস্ট করতে বলেছি
এখন তো আমরা
তারপর হ্যাঁ
অন্য ইয়ে করতেছি,
পাকড়াও করলে
ড্রোন দিয়ে ছবি
ওদেরকে
নিচ্ছি আর হেলিকপ্টারে
শেখ হাসিনা
ইয়ে
না
হচ্ছে
ওটা
মানে
বলা
কয়েক
হয়ে গেছে
জায়গায়। তারপর
ওটা নিয়ে র্যাব
তাহলে
ডিজিএফআই
ওই কিছু
এনএসআই সবাইকে
ছবি
বলা
থেকে
হয়েছে
পাকড়াও করা যায় না
যে
তাদের রাতের
যেখান
মধ্যে,
থেকে যে কয়টা
শেখ হাসিনা
পারবে
সবগুলিকে
ধরে
অ্যারেস্ট
ফেলো।
করতে বলেছি রাত্রে, তারপর হ্যাঁ
তারপর
পাকড়াও করলে
শেখ
ওদের
হাসিনা ওটা বলা আছে
শেখ হাসিনা
আর
না
এখানে
ওটা
গ্যাদারিং
বলা হয়ে
দেখবে
গেছে, ওটা নিয়ে
সেখানে
র্যাব
আর
ডিজিএফআই
যেখানে গ্যাদারিং
এনএসআই
দেখবে
সবাইকে
সেখানে
বলা হয়েছে
উপর থেকে
যে
এখন উপর
যেখান
থেকে
থেকে যে
করাচ্ছে
কয়টা
অলরেডি
পারবে
শুরু হয়েছে
পারবা
কয়েকটা
ধরে
জায়গায়
ফেলো।
তারপর জি শেখ হাসিনা
তাপস
আমার
জি,
নির্দেশনা দেওয়া আছে
শেখ
ওপেন
হাসিনা
নির্দেশনা দিয়ে
ওটা বলা
দিচ্ছি এখন
আছে,
এখন
আর
লেথাল উইপন
যেখানে
ব্যবহার
গ্যাদারিং
করবে
দেখবে
যেখানে পাবে
সেখানে
সোজা
আর
গুলি
যেখানে
করবে
গ্যাদারিং
তারপর
দেখবে সেখানে
জি জি
ওই উপর থেকে এখন
শেখ
উপর
হাসিনা
থেকে করাচ্ছি
না
অলরেডি
পড়াই
শুরু হয়েছে
না
কয়েকটা
পড়াইয়া
জায়গায়
দিছে
তারপর জি
মেশিনপত্র সব পড়ে
শেখ
গেছে
হাসিনা
আমি বলছি
আমার
যা যা
নির্দেশনা
পড়াতে
দেওয়া আছে ওপেন নির্দেশনা দিয়ে দিছি এখন এখন লেথাল উইপন ব্যবহার করবে যেখানে পাবে সোজা গুলি করবে তারপর জি জি শেখ হাসিনা না পড়াইয়া দিছে মেশিনপত্র সব পুড়ে গেছে আমি বলছি যা যা পড়াতে ও আমাদের সেতু ভবন পড়াইছে তারপর জি ওরা রাতে মনে হয় আরো ব্যাপক আক্রমণ করবে In the conversation with the Hassanullah Inu, accused Sheikh Hasina mentioned of bombing upon the protesters from the helicopter. The substantial portion, relevant portion from the conversation. Sheikh Hasina, না আমি বলছি ক্যাজুয়ালিটির দরকার নাই ওরা ব্যারিকেড নিয়ে আছে তো ঠিক আছে আকাশ থেকে নামবে তখন দুই পাশ দিয়ে ধরবে মেসেজটা দিয়ে দিতে পারেন যে সেনা পাঠানো হচ্ছে আর হেলিকপ্টার দিয়ে সোজা বম্বিং করা হবে র্যাবের হেলিকপ্টার দিয়ে উপর দিয়ে মারবে হাসানুল কিনু আপনি এই জামাত শিবিরের মেরুদণ্ডতা আবার ভেঙে দেন ঢাকা শহরে শেখ হাসিনা এক্কেবারে শেখ হাসিনা হ্যালো হাসানুল হক ইনু হ্যালো জি আসসালামু আলাইকুম আমি ইনু বলছিলাম হ্যালো শেখ হাসিনা হ্যাঁ বলেন আচ্ছা আমি এটা স্ক্রলে দিয়ে দিতে বলছি যে তোমরা ছাত্ররা সব ঘরে ফেরো গার্ডিয়ানদেরকে বলছি এইখানে কিন্তু জঙ্গি হামলা হয়েছে হাসানুল হক ইনু হ্যাঁ এটা রাইট রাইট শেখ হাসিনা না এটা আমাকে বেশ কিছু আন্তর্জাতিক পাইছি তারা এটাকে জঙ্গি হামলা হিসাবে কনসিডার মানে বলতেছে হাসানুল হক ইনু হ্যাঁ জঙ্গি হামলাই হয়েছে এই কার্ডটা খেলবো আমরা এখন শেখ হাসিনা না কার্ড খেলা না এটা আমি আগে করি নাই কিন্তু আমাকে আন্তর্জাতিক সংস্থা থেকে মেসেজটা দিচ্ছে যে এটা জঙ্গি হামলা হাসানুল হক ইনু জঙ্গি সন্ত্রাসের মোকাবিলা করছে এখন সরকার শেখ হাসিনা তারা আমাকে এটাই বলছে যে এটা জঙ্গি হামলা দিয়ে দিব পেপারে Reports of international and national organizations. United Nations Human Rights Office held an investigation into July-August 2024 atrocities in Bangladesh and mentioned in its report that the following inhuman and unlawful acts were committed by protesters during the movement and reported as follows. Based on direct testimony from senior officials involved and other inside sources, OHCHR was able to establish that the integrated and systematic effort using the entire range of police, paramilitary, military and intelligence actors, as well as violent elements linked to the Awami League to commit serious violations and abuses occurred with the full knowledge, coordination and direction of the political leadership. The then Prime Minister and Home Affairs Minister led parallel efforts to coordinate the security and intelligence apparatus. Both received regular reports on the situation on the ground from multiple sources. According to senior official testimony, reports provided to the Prime Minister by senior officials on 21 July and in early August specifically conveyed concern about excessive use of force. Both political leaders and the leadership of Bangladesh Police and the Army also carried out site visits that would have provided them direct personal knowledge of violations that had taken place or were ongoing. Furthermore, the political leadership issued direct orders and other directives authorizing and guiding operations by BGB, RAB, DGRI, the Bangladesh Police and its detective branch that involved serious violations of human rights against protesters and other civilians, including extrajudicial killings and arbitrary detention. Based on reported deaths complied by governmental and non-governmental sources, in combination with other available evidence, OHCHR assesses that as many as 1,400 people could have been killed during the protests. The vast majority of whom were killed by military rifles and shotguns loaded with lethal metal pellets commonly used by Bangladesh's security forces. Thousands more suffered severe, often life-altering injuries. More than 11,700 people were arrested and detained, according to the information from the police and RAB provided to OHCHR. Government attempted to intimidate and delegitimate the student protest movement, mobilized of Satruli police and paramilitary forces, materialize of policing in Bangladesh, incited violence by armed Awami League and activists on and around university premises, conducted coordinated attacks by armed Awami League supporters and the police, use of force violations by police, RAB and BGB, including extrajudicial killing, like killing Abu Said of Begum Ruqayya University, Rangpur, 16 July, made systematic, indiscriminate use of shotguns loaded with lethal ammunition, suppressed peaceful assembly at Dhaka University on 17 July. Police, RAB and BGB extrajudicially killed protesters in Uttara on 18 July. Disproportionate and indiscriminate use of firearms in response to violent unrest, indiscriminately shooting in Rampura and Badda by BGP and police on July 19. Violently cleared the Dhaka-Chattogram highway in Jatrabari on between 16 to 21 July. Extrajudicial killings to suppress the march to Dhaka on August 5 involved the army, who shot at protesters at Jamuna Future Park on 5th August 2024, used helicopter to intimidate and deploy possibly unlawful force, obstructed of medical care and denied necessary medical documentation, obstructed medical treatment of victim Sheikh Asabul Yamin, shot by police, caused mass arbitrary arrests, detention without due process and torture and ill treatment, caused block raids and mass arrests, including injured persons. Students and opposition leaders attacked journalists, children and women, and caused unjustified shutdown of internet. In the said report, Mr. Volker Turk, the High Commissioner of Human Rights Office of United Nations, that the atrocities committed in July Revolution 2024 in Bangladesh was preconcerted and systematic in order to remaining in power. There are cogent grounds to believe that hundreds of extrajudicial killings, arrest, detention and torture were carried out by the political leaders and the highest law enforcing authorities within their knowledge and under their direction and supervision as strategy to suppress the movement, whereby human rights have been seriously violated and thus international crimes have been committed. He also observed that the evidences collected do depict a picture of widespread state atrocities and targeted killings. He further remarked that such atrocities ought to be brought under accountability. There are many other similar reports by the Global Institute International Truth and Justice Project, Bloodshed in Bangladesh, World Report 2025 of Human Rights Watch. Then we are going to videos of the occurrences. It appears from the Caesar lists contained in Volume 4, four captions, scissor list, and documentary evidence that a good number of videos of the alleged occurrences have been seized by the investigating officer, which are described below. Number 1. A video of 1 hour 23 minutes and 5 seconds showing a press conference dated 14 July 2024 of accused Sheikh Hasina after her return from China, in which she, in answer to a question of one journalist, angrily remarked, pointing towards the protesting students, মুক্তিযুদ্ধের বিরুদ্ধে আর মুক্তিযোদ্ধার বিরুদ্ধে এত ক্ষোভ কেন? মুক্তিযোদ্ধাদের নাতিপুতিরা চাকরি পাবে না তো কি রাজাকারের নাতিপুতিরা পাবে? Number 2, a video of 35 seconds dated 15 July 2024 showing protest of the agitated students of Dhaka University at midnight against the remark of Sheikh Hasina made in the press conference dated 14 July 2024 pointing towards the protesting students. Number 3, a video showing the remark Rajakarder jawab debe Chhatrolig. Number 4, a video of 1 minute 5 seconds which shows attack upon the students of Kota movement by Bangladesh Chhatra League leaders and activists on 15 July 2024 at night. A video which shows that Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, while visiting damaged metro rail station on 26 July 2024, defended her previous comment in the press conference dated 14 July 2024. Number 6, a video showing Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina in course of her deliberation in a function of Jubo Mohila League held in July 2024 commented that the Kota movement was illogical and also commented Jamaat Shibir Manusher Jatna. Number 7, a video showing some adverse remark of Sheikh Hasina against the female students of Rokeya Hall of Dhaka University meeting at her office on 15 July 2024. A video showing how Sheikh Hasina asked Delhi to attack Dhaka. A video shows the scenario of how protesting student Mugdho was shot dead in the July movement. This video was broadcast by YouTube channel named Narrative Bangladesh on 19 April 2025. A video which shows the scene of shooting a young person named Ridoy by police in the July movement. This video was broadcast by YouTube channel named International Truth and Justice Project on 15 January 2025. A video named Jatrabari Evidence of a Massacre Bangla showing the scenarios of killing and torturing some participants of the movement. This video was broadcast by International Truth and Justice Project YouTube channel on 14 January 2025. A video showing the scene of carrying bullet stricken young man named Nafiz at Farm Gate of Dhaka. This video was broadcasted in Jamuna TV YouTube channel on 14 August 2024. A video showing how movement participant Khokon Chandra Burman was injured with gunshot in his face. It appears that the whole face including mouth, nose and eyes of Khokon Chandra Burman have been completely disfigured. This victim deposed in the tribunal as PW number 1. A video titled নির্মম 19 জুলাই শতাধিক লাশ হাজারো গুলিবিদ্ধ রক্তের জন্য হাহাকার DMC 19. A video titled RAB helicopter attacked Kota Andolon 2024 showing operation upon the protesters from RAB helicopters at different parts of Dhaka in July 2024. A video showing how protester Imam Hassan Taim Bhuiya was shot dead at Jatrabari, Dhaka. 4 videos in a pen drive showing the passing of order by DMP Commissioner Habibur Rahman to the subordinate asking them to to shoot the protesters below waist. A number of videos showing shooting upon the protesting people from helicopter. A video showing the scene of burning the dead bodies of protesting students and common people by police at Ashulia, Dhaka on 4th August 2025 during the July movement. A video showing the scene of Abu Said, a coordinator of July movement 24, being shot multiple times by police at a close range with lethal weapon. A video showing the scene of a dead body of protester Asabul Yamin being thrown from APC armed personnel carrier by police. A video which showing the accused Home Minister Asaduzzaman Khan Kamal defending the use of lethal weapon by police. Extent of cruelty. It transpires from the evidences that cruelty of the extreme level was administered upon the dead and injured protesters. Police and activists of Awami League, Chhatra League and Jubo League blocked the entrance and exit of ambulances carrying the injuring protesters. Hospitals were asked not to give admission to the injured protesters. It appears from the testimony of PW2 that in some cases, patients were searched by police and ruling party activists. Doctors were intimidated and some of the doctors were transferred due to giving treatment to the protesting injured persons. PW3 Parveen deposed that she found an injured young man shouting, save me, under Jatrabari flyover. Blood was coming out from both of his eyes. Parveen pulled him up and put him on her shoulder and looking for a rickshaw. And then 14 to 15 armed police shot them. The injured man, being hit by bullets, fell down from her shoulder. They also shot PW Parveen at her left eye, lower abdomen and other parts of the body. Blood was gushing out of her body and thus she fell down. Coordinator of the movement, Abu Said of Begum Ruqayya University, Rangpur, was shot at a close range. Doctors were forced to change his post-mortem report 5 times. PW8 Naeem Chikdar was shot at a close distance of 5 meters. He was hit by 500 bullets and 3 hospitals refused to admit him, apprising that Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina instructed to refuse admission to the protesting patients. PW8 also said that Chhatra League activists were searching him and as such he was hidden in separate room by the doctors. It is It is revealed from the evidence of PW9 Shahina Begum that police burned the dead body of her son along with some other dead bodies in Ashulia of Dhaka. PW10 MD Enab Nazez Zaki also stated that his son was killed and then the dead body was burnt by police in Ashulia. We find from the testimony of PW10 Asabur was shot dead and set ablaze. It appears from the testimony of PW13 Dr. Muhammad Mahfuzur Rahman that most patients admitted to the hospital had no skull. The detective branch members had forbidden the doctors not to be serious in the treatment of the protesting patients and also that they had been instructed from the higher authorities not to release the protester patients admitted there. The patients were mostly aged 13 to 30 years. The DB also asked the doctors not to admit any more patients injured in the movement. This witness also said that in order to hide the injured patients from the sight of DB personnel, The doctors adopted some tactic like changing the names of the patients and the type of injury in the admission register and recording road accident or other reasons instead of bullet wounds. It appears from the evidence of PW15 Dr. Hassanul Banna that police and Awami League activists prevented treatment of the protester patients, prohibited new admission of such patients, checked admission register, took away list of patients, set down entrance of the hospital and prevented entrance and exit of the ambulances and patients. This witness also said that one patient named Mustaqin Billah was admitted through an alternative entrance. To save the protester patients, the doctors had to change the name of the patients and particular of their problems, remove them from the general ward to the post-operative ward, ICU special cabin. He added that treatment was given to such patients at risk of life of the doctors. We find from the deposition of PW18, Dr. Razibul Islam, that he was forced to change the post-mortem report of Abu Said 4 to 5 times. He was threatened with the saying that if he does not change the cause of death of Abu Said, he would be prosecuted. He was further told that there was an intelligence report against him. PW19 Shariful Islam was injured in the bombardment in Kustia. 62 pellets were removed from his body and 500 more still in his body. It is revealed from the evidence of PW21 Dr. Zakia Sultana that on 18 July 2024 they received 200 patients aged about 14 to 25 years with bullet injuries. On 19 July 2024, also similar number of patients with bullet injuries were admitted in the hospital. Numerous patients with bullet injuries were admitted on 4th, 5th, 6th August 2024. It further appears from the evidence of this witness that out of episode patients, 493 lost one eye forever, 11 lost both eyes forever, 28 lost vision of both eyes, and 47 lost vision of one eye. It appears from the evidence of PW22, Mr. Idris, that while his son Maruf Hussain, after being shot by police, was being taken to the hospital, a policeman poked the wounded area of his son with the rifle butt. PW23 Amena Akhtar deposed that while Home Minister Asaduzzaman Kamal and IGP Chaudhry Abdullah Al Mamun were passing across Jatrabari, one police officer was showing them a video of their attacks on protesters and said, "Guli kori ekta, more ekta, ahuto hoy ekta, ektai jai, bakita jai na." It transpires from the testimony of PW27, Dr. Mashuk Ahmed, that Chhatraleague activists stopped ambulance carrying protesting wounded near Shahidullah Hall of Dhaka University. They also checked the patient identity, asked the doctors not to treat the wounded protesters and also not to be so serious in their treatment. He further said 5 doctors were transferred elsewhere due to rendering treatment to protesters with bullet injuries. This witness also stated that the direction of the gunshot wounds of the patients treated on 19, 20, 21 July and 4-5 August in Dhaka Medical College Hospital was from the top to the bottom. He meant that the gunshot was done from above, which obviously implies helicopter. It appears from the evidence of PW47 Nahid Islam deposed that bullets were fired from helicopter and that many false cases were filed against the protesters, and also that the activists of Awami League, Jubo League and Chhatro League prevented the treatment and burial of protesters. Furthermore, some of the protesters were forcibly disappeared and many dead bodies of the protesters were concealed. He himself and some other student leaders were abducted. PW 48, Ali Ahsan Junaid stated that on 15 July 2024, Satro League activists brutally attacked and injured the Dhaka University students, hindered going to the hospital and tortured them in the hospital. He further said that the protesters were fired from the helicopter. We find from the evidence of PW 54, Mr. MD Alamgir, investigating officer, that the protester named as Ashabul Yamin was thrown down from the APC by the police. Summing up by the learned Chief Prosecutor. The learned Chief Prosecutor advanced argument on conclusion of the testimonies of the prosecution witnesses. He submitted that the instant case is an unprecedented and unexceptional one in the history of this subcontinent. After achieving independence in 1971, the people of the country had a great expectation and belief that all sorts of suffering, poverty, tyranny, and high-handedness of the government and the mighty quarters would come to an end, and people would enjoy liberty, happiness, and all fundamental rights. But all these have been doomed to ashes. The learned prosecutor dubbed the ruling party Awami League as fascist ab initio. From the very inception of independent Bangladesh, the Awami League government concentrated to perpetuate its power by way of exploitation, torture, killing, abduction, denial of democracy and fundamental rights of the people, freedom of press and speech, as well as social justice, and thereupon established dictatorship by forming Bakshal. The then Awami League government, led by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, planned in connivance with a neighboring country to weaken and abolish our glorious army, and thus formed Rakhi Bahini, an armed organized parallel to the army. In the like way, after coming to the power in 2008, accused Sheikh Hasina's government committed the same acts like torture, abduction, killing, false prosecution, imprisoning, confinement, enforced disappearances, so dominated judiciary, restricted the freedom of press and freedom of speech. Sheikh Hasina oppressed the critics, writers, journalists, members of civil societies, lawyers and judges, and ousted many of them from the country. The then Chief Justice Sheikh S.K. Sinha, eminent writer and journalist, as well as historian Mahmudur Rahman, politician and journalist Pinaki Bhattacharya, Shafiq Rahman, Ilyas Hussain, Kanak Sarwar, Mushfiqul Fazl Ansari, Waliullah Numan, Shahed Alam, Jawad Nirjor, Tasneem Khalil, Julkarnain Shair, Barrister Abdul Razzaq were driven out of the country for speaking the truth and criticizing the government's misrule, oppression and loopholes. In 2008, with Sheikh Hasina's conspiracy as that of her father, 57 senior army officers, while an deputation in Bangladesh Border Guard, that is BGB, were killed in an official congregation of Pilkhana BGB headquarters by the Awami League leaders and loyal army officers. Thereafter, no action was taken against those killers. In 2013, the law enforcers and the ruling party activists killed hundreds of innocent young and underage madrasa students in a congregation arranged by Islamic organization Hafazat-e-Islam at Shapla Chattor, Dhaka, without any cogent reason, and thereafter no action was taken against the killers. For perpetuating her power, accused Sheikh Hasina politicized judiciary, army, law enforcing agencies, bureaucracies, and all other departments and made them subservient of herself and her government. With the ulterior motive of remaining in power for long, Sheikh Hasina obtaining a verdict from the court given by her loyal judges headed by Chief Justice A.B.M. Khairul Haq, now in jail, abolished the most popular and well-settled electoral system under caretaker government, held an expert election in 2014, ignoring the participation and demands of the opposition parties, and in that election 153 candidates of the ruling party Awami League were elected without any vote. Again, a farcical election was held in 2018, in which ballot boxes were filled up in the night preceding the day of election, without carrying the demands of the opposition parties for holding election by a caretaker government for the sake of security, fairness, and transparency. Accused Sheikh Hasina held another farcical ex-party election known as dummy election in January 2024, without allowing the political parties to participate. In 2024, the students launched a movement claiming reformation in the quota system in government jobs. They particularly demanded reduction of quota to 5% from 56%. Instead of fulfilling the demand of the students or speaking with them on the issue, Sheikh Hasina, in a press conference on 14 July 2024, made a derogatory comment pointing towards the students of Kota movement, saying, "Mukti Juddhar Nati Putira Chakri Pabe na to ki Rajakarer Nati Putira Chakri Pabe." Whereupon the student of Dhaka University got extremely agitated and assembled at Raju Bhaskurjo in front of TSC of Dhaka University, where they protested against Sheikh Hasina's humiliating comment and demanded her apology. Meanwhile, Awami League Secretary and Cabinet Minister Obaidul Kader and Chhatra League Yuva League leaders stated in their party meeting that Chhatra League was enough to control the protesting students, and thus the agitation spread out in all other educational institutes throughout the country. The armed activists of Chhatra League and Yuva League attacked all on a sudden upon the protesting students with deadly weapons at the midnight, causing 297 of them injured and hospitalized. Moreover, the said terrorists hindered the injured students from going to the hospital, and furthermore, they also attacked the injured students in the hospital. From 16 July 2024, the Chhatra League and Yuva League terrorists, along with the law enforcers, killed and injured many students at various parts of the country. On 16 July 2024, as part of the widespread and systematic attack, student Abu Said of Rangpur Begum Ruqayya University was repeatedly shot at a close range by police, causing his death and also injured many protesting students. Accused Sheikh Hasina ordered the law enforcers and the activists of Awami League, Chhatra League and Yuva League to use drone, helicopter, lethal weapons to kill the protesters, and accordingly, from 18 July to 1st August 2024, they killed hundreds of protesters and injured thousands throughout the country by using drone, helicopter, and various types of lethal weapons. As part of the widespread and systematic attack in pursuance of the incitement and order of accused Sheikh Hasina and direct participation, abatement, order, and supervision of accused Asaduzaman Khan Kamal and Inspector General of Police Chaudhry Abdullah Al Mamun, 6 protesters were brutally killed and many were seriously injured with lethal weapon by police at Sankarpur on 5th August 2024. Similarly, the law enforcers and activists of Awami League, Chhatra League and Jubo League killed 6 persons at Ashulia with lethal weapons on 5th August 2024. One of the 6 was unidentified. After being shot dead, police inhumanly burned the dead bodies. Before being burned, the dead body, unidentified protesters was alive. The learned chief prosecutor submitted that the family members of the martyrs, the injured victims, and other witnesses proved the aforesaid occurrences. The said occurrences were also recorded in videos and audios which have been played in the tribunal. The conversations recorded in DVD, CD, and the videos of the occurrences have been examined by the CID experts who found that the said conversations and videos are not generated by artificial intelligence. In addition to the incitement, order, participation of the accused in the alleged atrocities, the accused are liable for their abstention from taking measures for the prevention of the same or taking any punitive measures against the doers thereof. Being the Prime Minister, accused Sheikh Hasina was the supreme commander of the law enforcing agencies, inclusive of the Home Minister and the Inspector General of Police, and as such, the crimes against humanity in question could not take place without the involvement, express or tacit of them. The learned chief prosecutor added that the movement of the students continued for 36 days, during which, as stated herein before, hundreds of protesting students and common people were killed and thousands were seriously injured, most of whom became permanently handicapped and blind. But accused Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and the other accused and none of the government authorities or the leaders of the ruling party Awami League expressed concern or remorse for such atrocities so far. Accused Sheikh Hasina, instead of expressing remorse or seeking apology for the said crimes, continued to commit further crimes by threatening the present government, the International Crimes Tribunal personnel, and the prosecutors, and also the political party leaders in her hate speeches in audio conversations from time to time. This tribunal, by an order on the application of the prosecution, prohibited Sheikh Hasina to be restrained from making hate speeches anymore, but she continued to do so. Sheikh Hasina committed contempt of this tribunal by threatening the concerned officials of the government as well as the tribunal personnel, inclusive of the prosecutors, to kill 226 persons and burn the houses of the rival party leaders and activists in an audio conversation with one of her party activists, for which the tribunal drew a contempt proceeding against her. In the said proceeding, the tribunal convicted Sheikh Hasina and sentenced her with 6 months imprisonment. The accused committed crimes against humanity jointly by their incitement, order, abatement, participation, and inaction, which come within the purview of joint criminal enterprise and superior command responsibility. The authorities in question were widespread and systematic and were atrocities. The atrocities in question were widespread and systematic, and it was directed against the civilian population. The learned chief prosecutor concluded his submission with the saying that in the circumstances it has been proved and established beyond reasonable doubt that the accused committed the crimes against humanity by their incitement, order, participation, abatement, and also inaction, whereupon they deserve the maximum punishment as prescribed by Section 3, subsection 2A